not proud of me? Well, if you are not proud that I hit 100 subs, then you suck. Anyways, today we are going to be talking about why COVID-19 status. I already made videos about this, but they're pretty boring and they're completely outdated since, COVID, it's been almost a year since I made those videos, and plus, I don't like them. Alright, let's talk about COVID-19. As of February 18th, 2021, let's look at the statistics. So, let's go straight to Wikipedia. According to Wikipedia, as of February 22nd, 2021, here are all the statistics. Worldwide, well over 100 million cases have been reported, and almost 2.5 million deaths have been reported. The recovery status is over 60 million. Let's start with the United States of America, since probably all of you are expecting this to be in our video. As of today, the United States has almost 28.5 million cases, over 500,000 deaths, and and over 500,000 deaths. Following, India has 11,000 cases, as 11 million cases. Brazil with 10 million, and then full of Eurasian countries and other stuff like that. Russia, the UK, France, Spain, and Italy are the top 5 countries in Europe. Then comes Turkey, Germany, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, Poland, Iran, South Africa, Ukraine, not to be confused with UK, Indonesia, Peru, the Czech Republic, and the Netherlands. All of these countries have reported, as of today, over 1 million COVID cases. Canada is the highest country that hasn't approached the 1 million mark, although it will do in the future if COVID-19 cases start to spike. Well, then definitely. Iraq and Morocco also reported a fair amount of cases. Japan is on the good side with less than 5, with the case rate lower than the death rate in the United States. Not the mortality rate, how many deaths there are in the United States. Which is good because, well, that's where the Olympics are going to take place, in Tokyo, which is in Japan. So, good job, Nintendo, at keeping the Olympic Games at bay. Although, unfortunately, Japan does have more cases than Saudi Arabia. However, Saudi Arabia is not the same as Japan, so that makes a little sense. The lowest cases with over Algeria, Kenya, and Albania are the lowest countries with in excess of 100,000 cases. Although Puerto Rico and China are both approaching the mark, as well as South Korea, Latvia, Sri Lanka, Uzbekistan, Montenegro, Norway, Singapore, etc. Oh, and Luxembourg. Luxembourg, Cuba, and Namibia all in the midpoint, with Cyprus, Australia, Thailand, the DRC, Jamaica, Malta, the Maldives, which is actually fairly hard hit, with also in the midpole, with the Lombok, with Cape Verde. Now, and Syria. Well, we'll get to that later. Which is in a close call with Cape Verde, so no worries. Hong Kong is on the big mark with over 1,000, although the Congo and the Bahamas, Aruba, Trinidad and Tobago, Somalia, Iceland, and a whole bunch of other countries, including Mongolia, Yemen, Vietnam, Northern Cyprus, Monaco, and a whole bunch of other countries have more than 1,000 cases. Less than that, well, the top countries are Papua New Guinea, Taiwan, and Bhutan. Bermuda and Faroe Islands are in the mid spot, as well as Cambodia. Oh, and the Cayman Islands. Less than 100 cases? Well, Fiji is the top technical country with more than 50 cases, with Greenland, Vatican City, the Solomon Islands, the Marshall Islands, Samoa and American Samoa, Micronesia, and Vanuatu with 1 recorded cases. Although most of these countries are fairly remote. What you might not expect to be on the list is Antarctica. Yeah. With 58 cases, more than Fiji, which has 56. And although it's actually doing better than Fiji, as it has recorded no deaths, with Fiji reporting 2 deaths. And unsurprisingly, the West have recovered. So, we moving over but that's just the tip of the iceberg. What are the highest countries? Well, although you might be suspected to see with this map on, let me explain. So, now you might be wondering what? Well, let me explain. In Asia, India, Iran, Indonesia, Israel, and Iraq have the highest recorded cases. Now, I'm not counting Eurasia as a whole, Oceania, or Antarctica, because those are just not acceptable in a ways. The Americas are especially hard hit, with the United States, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, Peru, Canada, Chile, Dominican Republic, and Costa Rica all being fairly hard hit. And I'm also including South America at the same time. Moving to Africa, we're going to split this up into 2 groups. North Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa. In North Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt have the highest reported cases. In Sub-Saharan Africa, that's a little different. South Africa has the highest cases reported in all of Africa, with in excess of 1 million reports. Now, part of this is because of the South African variant that just arrived in late 2020, but we're not going to focus on that. We're focusing on highest cases. It has more cases than Nigeria and Ethiopia. Since that's the country now you might be wondering if not all if Antarctica has reported cases, what are other countries that haven't reported cases? Well, a whole lot of them too. I'm not including North Korea since I'm not including these countries in Asia since those cases have been suspected. So I'm not counting that. Although I will, but some of them include Tonga and Tuvalu. With both a population, Tonga has a population of 100,000 and Tuvalu only 10.5 thousand, which is not a lot. Although, unsurprisingly, Pitcairn, which has a population of 50, has not been affected at all due to it being extremely remote. Now, we're going to face two different... Now we're going to talk about countries that have... that should have more cases than currently reported. Now, both are in fairly good shape. Let's take the next... Let's take the following countries. We're going to be taking Monaco and the DRC Congo. As of today, Monaco has reported 1.75 thousand cases of coronavirus. And now, although the Democratic Republic of Congo has reported more cases, Monaco is hit harder. Now, this should not come to a surprise to everyone since, Monaco is very dense because of how small the country is. I mean, it still deserves to be a country. Vatican City, on the other hand, deserves to be a city, not a country. Alright? But that would make Monaco the smallest country in the world, right? No time to that, though. This isn't about the smallest countries in the world. This is about the hardest hit countries by coronavirus. But I wonder why the DRC Congo hasn't reported as many cases as most people think. One factor could be that it is extremely underdeveloped. But that's just one reason. There could be a whole other reasons. Moving back to Cape Verde and Syria. Both countries are in a battle against each other. Cape Verde has only slightly more cases than Syria. But Syria totally deserves to have way more cases than it does. Population is Syria has a much higher population than Cape Verde, and Syria has more than 15 million people. Cape Verde has a fairly low population. But why does Syria deserve to have more cases? There's only one word. War. Syria is under a civil war since that started a decade ago, and it hasn't stopped yet. So, and it's kind of considered vulnerable. So why have they not even reported a thousandth of their cases? Seriously, why in the world does this country have not even a thousandth of their population affected? If they have been under civil war since 2011 and it has caused absolute mayhem in the country, why do they have a ridiculous low number of cases? Celia, you need to speak a different language. Okay, that has nothing to do with coronavirus, so no time to learn a new language. Next up, moving over to the United States of America. The United States is the most affected country. And, well, it makes a little bit of sense to have so many cases since it does have a population of 300 million people. Almost 10% of the country's population has been affected. Why in the world is it that? Why in the world? Seriously! This is absolutely ridiculous. And this is what is ridiculous. More Americans have died from coronavirus than during the Second World War. Okay, that is unbelievable. It's the third leading cause of death in 2020 behind heart disease and cancer, which is ridiculous, seeing as how many people die from cancer is how many people die from cancer is unsurprising because, well, it's if you get cancer, then you want to suicide yourself. Okay, not the same. Why is America so hard hit? Well, let's go to COVID-19 statistics in the U.S. This is a timeline of all of the cases reported in the United States of America since the pandemic began. There was a spike in cases in late March, another spike of cases in July, and then a huge spike of cases in November, December, and January. How many cases? Well, on January 8th alone, the country reported more than 300,000 cases reported. That is 1% of the global. That is 1,000th of cases in the entire population. That is absolutely ridiculous. But that was not the only surge. Then, thanks to vaccines, the cases has dropped. And today, less than 60,000 cases were reported, which is unbelievable compared to the cases reported in December. That's a lot. Seriously. Let's go. Oh, but why did a month after they reported an unbelievable amount of cases, the pandemic is reported less than the cases reported in November. I mean, this was the first time it even surpassed was on November 4th. But why did America get so hard hit? That is the big question here. Well, let me tell you a timeline. On March 11th is when COVID-19 became pandemic. By March 27th, the USA reported a total of 100,000 cases. Now that is a little unsurprising because most pandemics let out so many cases. Although the swine flu was more of a worldwide flu season than a pandemic. But influenza is has not much to do with coronaviruses. So what are gonna be ignoring swine flu because that was a decade ago. Actually, more than that. Actually, 12 years ago. But this isn't history class. I'm not going to start talking. Okay, we'll continue. On April 11th, it surpassed it became the highest death rate in the world after surpassing Italy, which at the moment you can which right now does not have a lot of cases, but by this, which before had a few cases and then slowed down significantly, and then, like a lot of countries, had a spike in November. I think COVID-19 was at its peak in November. And yes, and no. And yes, this was before COVID variants, like the UK variant, South African variant, Brazilian. You get the idea. Although the South African variant is probably the most worrisome of all of the three major variants. Next up, moving over, a month after the 100,000 case mark, it reached 1 million cases. A month later, it reached 100,000 deaths. The cases If we go back to the U.S., the cases slowed down in June, but then spiked in July. And then, in late September, it surpassed 200,000 deaths and worldwide past 1 million deaths. Although that now 1 million deaths in the world is just the tip of the virus. Get it? Alright. Then, a month before America reported 100,000 cases in 24 hours, Donald Trump, the U.S. president, tested positive for COVID-19. Yep, this dude sucks. But that's not just an opinion either. Let's get back to the cases. He totally deserved to get COVID. But this is where things get unbelievable. From November to mid-January, COVID-19 exploded all across America in major states. While more U.S. states are doing okay, like Alaska, Hawaii, and Wyoming, states like Illinois saw numbers skyrocket. And fewer than 1% of the population traveled for Thanksgiving, which is unsurprising and surprising at the same time. Anyways, however, it peaked over here, but that's not the highest peak. All right. By New Year's Eve, the variants popped up in America. Florida stores most of the COVID strains, where all U.S. states have reported at least one case of COVID, including Puerto Rico, Guam, and American Samoa. So what made America get so bad? One answer: Donald Trump. Donald Trump. I hate you. Now, Trump said this to the other people. This is, what did Trump say? COVID-19 is better than the flu. America had few cases. A vaccine was weeks away. Tests are very rare. 99% of COVID cases are harmless. And this is all false. Didn't how much that didn't wear mask either. I mean, this is why he ended up getting sick in October and having COVID. You deserve it, so you deserve it. So what? This guy is just a true idiot. So what to do for the pandemic? Make sure COVID doesn't spike. Don't follow this dude's rules, because otherwise you are a total stupidity of someone, and any idiot deserves to get COVID. You know what, Donald Trump? Never mind. President Trump is not a president anymore. Joe Biden deserves to be so, and he decided to place travel bans in the U.S. To make sure COVID doesn't spike, you can wear masks in public places, limit contact, disinfect commonly touched places, basically follow COVID-19 protocols. If possible, we'll wait for a vaccine to be shot into arms like flu shot. WHO and CDC have more information about COVID as well as Wikipedia. Don't travel to any extent if cases are going up, quarantine, and follow Joe Biden and not Donald Trump. And don't make lies either. Don't say, oh, it's just in Iran, China, Italy. No! Take COVID seriously. It's not like HIV. We can travel anywhere with as long as you don't spread the disease. Travel anywhere with COVID, then you're gonna spread it. Seriously. And touching as COVID can last for months if you're unlucky. Take COVID seriously. Don't be this dude and make lies about COVID-19. And wear a mask if you're around in public events. Otherwise, you could be like this for the rest of your life. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!